Alright guys, you know what the deal is? Let's get straight into it. Hey guys, Trife here, back again with another video. If you don't know, Switch Hit finally got added to UBG, and I must say, it is an absolute game changer of a style. Along with that, there have been a few other updates preceding Switch Hit, which have changed the meta slightly, which I'll get into today. We'll cover the styles that already existed before Switch Hit got added, that might have gotten better or worse due to further use on my end, or actual nerfs that have been applied to the style indirectly or directly. If you guys like the video, you know what to do. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and join the Discord down below. And of course, massive shout out to the 8 members of the Trife channel. Beyond that, let's get straight into it. As you guys might have noticed, I'm pretty good at UBG. In fact, I've improved so much over the time I've played this game that I'd argue I'm one of the best within the entire platform. And while my skill is not to be doubted, I'd attribute most of it to my very, very low ping. And you guys have been wondering, how do I get such low good ping? How's my internet so good? Especially since I use Wi-Fi. It didn't used to be that good, it was much worse, much more unstable, reaching ping upwards of 200 even in my servers. Yet that problem was resolved due to one application, GearUp Booster. Oh my god, my savior, it's made recording for UBG so much better and so much more fun. I can't recommend it enough. GearUp Booster is a general lag reducer that ensures the best and most stable network performance when connecting to any server of your choice. It has full access to network carriers and game servers across regions such as NA and EU, and it's probably one of the main reasons I got so good at this game in the first place. I'll show you a comparison before and after I enable GearUp Booster, and the difference speaks for itself. I'll just enable it here on the desktop itself and then show you my ping right after. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it. Download GearUp Booster now in the pinned comment or the description below. That's all I have to say. Let's get straight into the video. Alright, so before we begin with ranking Switch Hit, there are some styles in this tier list I'd like to adjust in terms of their placement because they've been nerfed a couple of times due to recent updates, or I've been using these styles more and more and have been led to believe that they're much better or worse than I initially thought for them to be. Starting with the worst style in this game, we have Wolf. I don't need to explain much as to why Wolf is so bad. It has no damage on PD since the White Fang isn't true anymore. It has the worst damage off PD punishes. Its pressure is non-existent, with its M1s being quite slow while also doing next to no damage. I believe the M1s do around the same damage as Kimura, or maybe worse generally. Particularly the first M1 on Wolf is really, really bad, and that's pretty much what Wolf's entire game plan is, which is getting chip damage off its first M1 due to how strong its feints are. But the feints themselves don't really give much to Wolf, and therefore this style's pressure is pretty bad. Furthermore, the M2, while it's quite fast, due to how fast it is, feinting with Wolf is still a major weakness if you don't time it correctly literally every time, which results in a lot of accidental PDs for Wolf users compared to other styles in this game. Generally speaking, it's completely underpowered and needs a buff to its base stats in some capacity, or maybe the White Fang should take less stamina upon use. Next up, we probably have the third best counter style in this game, Counter. Now, I know in my Counter video I did say Chronos is better than Counter, but I finally realized that 1. Chronos' focus mode is a lot more unreliable than people actually realize. It only takes one good feint to kick a person out of focus mode, and it's the only reliable source of damage that Chronos can use to even match up to other styles in this game. Its base is really bad and it takes a lot of damage while also dealing basically nothing. It does less damage overall than Freedom, and Freedom takes 20% more damage while Chronos takes 10% more damage. It just has a lot of disadvantages and requires that you work a lot more for your win. Counter, on the other hand, doesn't really have any clear disadvantages, while also having an insane counter bonus on all of its attacks, while its base damage actually isn't that bad and its block damage is very respectable. It doesn't have the glaring weakness of base damage that Hanslow does, however its dashes aren't as good and doesn't have walk speed that's as good as Hanslow and what's not. But generally speaking, its counter multiplier is absolutely crazy and cannot be understated. Feinting with the style is absolutely great, and its M2 is surprisingly big in terms of its hitbox, and therefore can chain into itself very well. Next up, we have a bit of a controversial take. I think Hitman is actually better than Hammer, Chronos, and Freedom. Now hear me out here. Hear me out. We know why Freedom is as low as it is. Well, yes, it does a decent amount of damage. 20% extra damage intake is absolutely insane, and its sway back got gutted, so one good feint, and you do a shit ton of health to your opponent with something as weak as Hansel or Chronos. That's absolutely insane. With Hitman, it has M1s that are as fast as Chronos. It has that benefit while having also some of the highest damage output in the entire game. I'm sorry, but those two aspects are absolutely insane, because that means Hitman's counter game and feint game is absolutely strong. While I do understand the M1 only comes from one side and is kind of telegraphed, it's still one of the fastest M1s in this game. It's in that same tier as Hanslow and Counter, and we know how hard Hanslow and Counter are to dodge. I'm not saying you can't dodge 100% of the time, that's what I do. Everybody can do it, it's still reactable. It's just that means if I'm playing the reading game, the counter-based game, where I'm like adapting to my opponent's patterns, I have a net advantage because I'm always outpacing my opponent, and when I do outpace my opponent, contrary to most other fast styles in this game, I do shit ton of damage and my punish game's absolutely crazy. The M2 also reaches really far, it does a lot of damage, and generally speaking, due to the existence of feints, just because my M1 only comes from one side doesn't mean I can't land hits. That's quite the contrary, especially with how fast Hitman's M1s are. The range is absolutely crazy, so spacing with a style is better than anything else in this game, and generally speaking, Hitman is super underrated. Super underrated. It's hated, but super underrated in the sense that people consider it a noob killer and nothing else. It's overrated in the sense that everyone fucking uses it for no reason, but in high level play, this style is very formidable. Finally, we have the man of the hour, the switch hit style. I've been meaning to talk about this style for quite a while now, because I'm going to be frank, I have a lot of controversial things to say, but if you guys just hear me out for a second, let me cook, you guys are going to understand where I'm coming from with this. Now, in my opinion, I think switch hit is probably a top 5, top 4, maybe even top 3 style, solely because of one mechanic. The ability to cancel PDs with static. Disregarding anything else that static can do, the most optimal way to play switch hit is to save static solely for situations where both parties are fishing for ultimates. In this game, ultimates are probably the most defining factor for who wins a match. If you are landing more ultimates than your opponent, you are winning. You can land 1 ult per round, 3 ults in a game very reliably. Triple ulting is a very common occurrence, and playing for ultimates is typically the way people go when it comes to high level play. You do 50% with 1 punch with 1 good dodge. If ults are such a defining factor that they pretty much determine who wins a match, and you have the situation where in every single round, particularly the end game of each round, both opponents are forced to fish for ultimates because they literally define who wins that round. When you give the opponent the ability to say no to your ultimate and no to ult fishing, while also still being able to fish for an ultimate, that is game breaking. That completely breaks the flow of the game. The game structure is completely shattered, and its entire framework in terms of the meta is completely and utterly destroyed. It may seem like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I guarantee you, if you see more good players using switch hit, you'll find that they'll basically never inverse your controls. The effects themselves inversing your controls are very easy to adapt to and pretty much elementary. It does nerf your dashes a bit in terms of its iframes, but it's pretty negligible. However, being able to make it so that you can't land a 50% punch for free, while make it so that you can still do that to your opponent, is an automatic winning advantage that makes it so that theoretically, against just about every single style in this game, switch hit cannot lose. Period. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. You guys heard what I said in the beginning of the video. Subscribe, join the Discord down below, and like the video if you appreciate it. If you disagree with what I've said so far, feel free to tell me how I'm wrong in the comments down below. If you agree with me, then make sure to tell me what I could do to improve my tier list going forward. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video.